stop the Summoning Star or at least delay it. And we know how the Lugia deck doesn't work if you don't pull off that Summoning Star, right? Attaching 1 energy per turn to power up your Lugia is really not a very cost-effective way to do it. And so it'll be interesting to see if Jose manages to lock Natalie out of her ability, or if Natalie will be able to push through and get those R-Cubes going.
Yeah, it leaves you in some interesting situations. Sometimes the early path can lock out some of these cards like the Luminion, and then you don't draw as well, and you get left in spots where maybe when you do have your opportunity to use Summoning Star, you only have 1 Archeops. But this is where the consistency of these decks are really going to start to shine.
Yeah, absolutely. And so a lot of these games might come down to how many options does Natalie play in order to counteract the path to a peak. And we're seeing here the prize cards. 3 energies prize for Natalie. That double turbo could be a little problematic. Same for the Crobat. Having no access to draw a few extra cards means if Natalie doesn't have a supporter in her hand, she'll have to fetch Luminion, otherwise there's no option for her, and that means she can't draw cards on turn 1 if she went first.
Yep, over for Jose. I'm not terribly worried about those prize cards. A couple of the ball searches were in there, and a lost vacuum to maybe choose when that path to the peak is in play or not. It could be a little bit awkward, but it looked like the placement there could be pretty great for the mid game.
Yeah, absolutely. They didn't seem like super impactful or key cards from looking at his list. And we're gonna get this game going.
Well, this is definitely how you get it going. You dream of this as you go to sleep day 1. Can I just get on stream and start with a Battle VIP pass? Because that is a perfect start here. The Genesect V grabbing the Mew V and another Genesect. Sure enough, this hand is going to get even thinner with this quick ball.
Yeah, off to a pretty good start for Jose. Charizard start for Natalie, not the best of course, but as long as she has access to Lugia, then having that Charizard start might not be as bad. It's definitely a 1 prizer that you can afford to lose in this matchup. The main focus will be loading up a Lugia V-Star with a bunch of powerfuls to take down one of the Mews, and then following that up with an Yveltal to take down the second Mew.
We see Jose is definitely eyeing up the Oricorio early, wanting to make sure that maybe the damage manipulation could be beneficial here. Of course, you don't want to have your Mew VMAX getting knocked out in 1 hit, and you can avoid a lot of the awkwardness if you just place down that Oricorio and help to prevent some damage.
Yeah, absolutely. With Oricorio, the math works out in Jose's favor, where if Natalie for some reason cannot attach all 4 powerful and a choice belt, she'd be off on the KO, whereas without Oricorio, Natalie would only require 3 of the powerfuls instead of all 4. So definitely a nice Pokemon to have right there on the bench. Also getting the Forest Seal Stone to have access to any sort of counterplay that Natalie might be trying to do, or just any card that he might be missing.
Yeah, it's a really great new addition from Silver Tempest, where you can basically give all of your V Pokemon this ability to reach out and grab 1 additional card. And you can choose when you want to do this, of course, and finding an opportunity where you can lock in a path or really start to manipulate when players are using the abilities like that. That's perfect against this Lugia deck. Obviously, just waiting. No point in playing it down now, and probably we could see that path lock on turn 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Jose definitely doesn't need to play down the path on turn 1. It would only stop him, and Natalie won't be able to use Summoning Star on her first turn. She's looking through her deck, finding that Lugia, finding that Archeops, setting that board up, but she's really under pressure to bench 2 Lugias. If she only ends up benching 1, that could be a little problematic for her, but we do see the Capture Energy attachment, so we are going to see the double Lugia to prevent any shenanigans from Jose trying to knock out that Lugia to prevent the Summoning Star.
Yep, can't draw it up much better than that. Only the 2 Capture Energy, but of course, as you mentioned, the 4 Lugia to help out with some consistency, and sure enough, finding both of those cards in this situation is going to be very beneficial. Radiant Charizard in the active, not exactly your favorite, but it looks like we are going to see an early Collapse Stadium, not necessarily the card you want to play down, but it was so important to use that Professor's Research, it looked like that you might as well take advantage of the card.
That Professor Research was very harsh, though. That's 1 powerful energy gone, meaning the 1 KO on Mew VMAX is off the table now with a Lugia. And also double Lugia V-Star getting discarded. Natalie does play 3 copies, and I'm sure with that first search she did off of the incense, she noticed that the third one was available, otherwise you would never be able to do this, and there we see it. However, that discard is so harsh. I'm not so sure if that could be something that Natalie regrets later down the line, not having access to those Lugia, especially we are going to see a heavy Marnie play from Jose. So that means the Lugia V-Star that Natalie just searched for will now be at the bottom of the deck if that happens.
Yeah, I guess there was an opportunity to just pass the turn, play it off slow, and you're holding a hand of double Lugia V-Star Collapse Stadium research. But I guess just understanding that Jose loves to manipulate board states and or at least manipulate what abilities are available. So maybe locking in a path and then playing a Marnie would have really been very awkward here.
Yeah, absolutely. We are going to see Jose try to capitalize on this. Like if you're sitting on Jose's spot and you see the 2 Lugia V-Stars in the discard pile and 1 Path to a Peak counter in play, you really want to pull off that Marnie path. I think that's going to be really good. And he also doesn't know that Natalie does not play Pumpkaboo, so Natalie needs to draw exactly the cards to counter the Path to Peak, but we don't see the Marnie though, we see the Serena.
Yeah, going to draw up to 5, discarding 2 cards from the hand, as you have the choice to discard up to 3. And we did see that Cramomatic hitting the discard pile, so must have not had an additional item to play, or else we would have obviously seen that. Quick Ball is going to come down, and this would generally fill the bench, but we do have a Collapse Stadium in play, so Jose gets to keep that parting gift.
Indeed, that Collapse Stadium already helping Natalie a little bit, denying those extra cards for Jose, and seeing how we saw this arena and there's no Marnie, Natalie must be feeling very comfortable right now, knowing that she'll be able to, at the very least, get Lugia V-Star out. And we do see Jose use its V-Star, even though there's no V-Star in play. Forest Sealstone does grant that ability to Genesect.
That's right, Star Alchemy, the Arceus attempt. It's just only 1 card this time, but honestly, that can be enough. And Mew VMAX players have been waiting a long time to flip a V-Star, and when you get to do double cross switcher, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, now Jose going for the offensive here, not really for the disruption, choosing to forgo the Marnie path option that he could have tried to do with the Forest Sealstone, searching for that Marnie. Instead, just trying to make sure that he's taking the 2 prize cards and applying the pressure to Natalie. I think with the powerful energy in the discard pile, the only real way that he could get 1 KO by the usual Lugia deck list is now a single Yveltal. Outside of that, it will be a 2-hit KO. So that must have been why he went for the aggression right here.
Yeah, you can see Jose really looking for the path to the peak right here and just unable to find it with only the 2 Genesect in play and the 5 Fusion Strike Pokemon. Not going to be enough to find the path and lock that in, but at least taking a very strong knockout here on the Lugia V. So that's going to be 2 prize cards down, and Natalie really has to have a pretty impressive turn here to combat what Jose has on the other side. Look at this. It's 2 Mew VMAX ready to go, and this is getting scary when you see that the Oricorio's down and the powerful energy's already gone.
Yeah, absolutely. That Collapse Stadium did put in the work for Natalie delaying Jose's draw with a Genesect in hand, and then that's potentially 6-7 less cards that Jose didn't draw during his last turn. And we're going to see Natalie try to set up this attack here and trying to protect the Lugia with the V-Guard energy. It's her best way to try and make sure that Mew doesn't get farther ahead in this matchup. And with 1 power tablet down, that should complicate things for Jose to get the KO here.
Yeah, both of these players are lacking some resources to close out on the big 1-hit knockouts at this stage of the game. We also know that Natalie is down 1 of those double turbos in the prize cards, and there goes the second one to Charizard. So it looks like 2 additional energies would have to be placed onto the Lugia if it were attacking. And I guess this isn't the case, because Charizard is getting ready to go.
Yeah, it looks like Charizard will be the Pokemon of choice for Natalie. And we do see something that's very interesting, the air balloon getting attached to Lugia. It seems like Natalie wants to go for the 3 KOs as well onto Jose, and capitalizing on the fact that the collapsed stadium denied a Genesect, and now taking this one out. That does not allow Jose to draw a lot of cards this upcoming turn now.
Yeah, what a strong play there, being able to target down one of these 2-prize Pokemon using the Radiant Charizard, just starting to manipulate the prize exchange, and that's really beneficial here. Jose was struggling to find the right cards to close out the second turn, so there's a possibility that there may not be the boss's orders, Serena, or even the cross switchers to target down this Lugia, and even if it is targeted, are there enough power tablets to take a knockout when you see that V-Guard energy?
Yeah, with the V-Guard energy, Jose would need 4 damage modifiers. That means Choice Belt and their remaining 3 power tablets, so it's definitely not going to be easy at all to pull that off. Lost vacuuming away the Marnie right here to get that extra bench space, but that might mean there's no disruption once again from Jose. He might be holding an extra Marnie to do so, but that shows how aggressive Jose wants to go this game, and Natalie can definitely capitalize on that by focusing on the single prizers and very smartly protecting that Lugia with the V-Guard energy.
Wow, it looks like there is double cross switcher available in the hand for Jose. And I believe a power tablet as well. So certainly some options available in what looked to be a small hand. And of course, when you see a Marnie thrown away from the Lost Vacuum, likely a supporter to go with this double power tablet. Are we going for Lugia?
We might be going for, yeah, we are. So this could actually be not in Natalie's plans. I mean, Jose does need a really good draw from this Genesect. He needs to find that last power tablet, or we're not going to see this KO, but he can play down some cards. However, he drew 2 Path to a Peak. Those are 2 cards that he cannot play down to thin for his hand for extra draw for Genesect because they stop Genesect. So getting a little convoluted right here.
Yeah, you can try. It's just not going to work. Yeah, we do see a little awkward on the draws there. Marnie going to just clean that up. So as soon as you find the paths, you can't even play them because you're looking for a little bit more here. Of course, finding the Mew VMAX would be very important, and also that last power tablet to close things out here. Did see the Cram-O-Matic drawn, so that could potentially open up some choices. And the Choice Belt means the other Mew VMAX is no longer a necessary draw here. Very strong hand.
Are we about to see that 3rd power tablet hit the board? And then that would mean, ooh,
what
that's a
flip.
head flip.
That's so big here. All of the resources coming in very handy. Did we see it?
No, I think it is still priced, unfortunately. No, it is
Where'd
not.
it go?
Must have been played early on. I think even Jose is surprised at that.
Is it still in my deck box? What happened?
We must have missed it in the beginning. I don't see how else it wouldn't be here. Yeah. So that means this Lugia is not going down. I think Jose was going for a KO this turn and then playing the Echoing Horn in order to get the last KO with a boss or Serena onto a Lugia that got put back onto the bench. But unfortunately, we are not going to see that this time around. This Lugia will survive. It is not a lost turn, right? Having that damage on the Lugia is going to be pretty key and could allow Jose to take it down with the Psychic Leap from you after tanking a hit from the Charizard. So it's still in a decent spot, but definitely would have preferred to get the 2 prize cards here.
You even have access to glistening droplets, so you can do all sorts of wacky things, I suppose, to clean this Pokemon up. But I guess we're gonna get rid of some of the utility here. The air balloon's going to fall with this second Lost Vacuum played for the turn.
Yeah, that will put a lot of pressure on this Lugia to either attack or lose those energies, which of course are very, very valuable. Now, having played the Cross Switcher, that did reset the Radiant Charizard's attack effect, which doesn't allow it to attack the next turn. So now we are going to see Charizard as a viable option for this turn.
Well, not a lost turn, but certainly an unfortunate finish to turn number 3 for Jose. Natalie has to be thinking, that's how we drew it up. We do see the collapsed stadium come down. Not going to be able to manipulate the board and remove the Lugia and the damage, but at least going to lose the Oricorio here.
Ooh, so Jose was almost going to commit to discarding the Mew, but then he realized he wanted that for a potential Psychic Leap next turn. But having chosen the Oricorio now means if Natalie's able to find a choice build here, then she'd be able to power up the two remaining powerful energies onto a Lugia in the deck and take a knockout on this Mew VMAX. But we do see that she actually was not able to find it.
Yeah, a little unfortunate there. An opportunity did arise, but not going to be able to capitalize. Ultra Ball in the hand, and now it's going to be played, and looks like the Evital was potentially going to be searched out, and Natalie, of course, just going to look at some energies as well. Archeops could likely be the following play here.
Yeah, Archeops as a follow-up to knock out the Mew could be viable. She was also eyeing the Evital off of that Ultra Ball, but that would be, since one double turbo I believe is still priced, then it would be very costly to power up all 5 energies onto Evital, along with a manual attachment, and also discarding the 2 energies from Lugia. That would leave Natalie in a pretty difficult spot, but she'd also have the Charizard powered up and the Evital, so that means she only needs a Ghost effect to be able to close out a Pokemon from the bench with the Charizard.
Yeah, being down that double turbo that is in the prize cards, a little bit unfortunate now, but of course, looks like the energy will be in hand to finish out the 5-cost attack of this Evital, but it is certainly worth it as a huge knockout is available. Amazing Destruction going to remove Mew VMAX from play, 3 prize cards down. Natalie Millar, 1 prize to go to close out game number 1.
3 prize cards, 3 energies for Natalie, so that's why she needed to commit so many energies to the Evital right there. And Jose really needs to take a KO on this Evital and disrupt Natalie's hand as much as possible, making sure she doesn't have access to a Ghost effect, because otherwise that Charizard can easily just take down either Genesect or the Mew V on the bench in order to close out this game.
Cramomatic would have been a great start to that storybook ending, but unfortunately we see the tails and it's not much left to go. It's going to be the Lost Vacuum number 3 to have a 0-card hand. Genesect's going to try to do some work, and this is where we might finally see a path to the peak, but I feel like you want to also see the Roxanne to go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Roxanne would be a much stronger play here instead of the Marnie. Jose does know that Natalie played her hand down to 0 cards, so all she has is the random 3 prize cards, right? So since it's a random 3 cards, that it would be a little worse than, a little better rather, than having 4 random cards from the Marnie. So Roxanne is the key card for Jose here.
Natalie checking the deck size, and it's not much. Jose will likely be able to see every card necessary to close out, but that also leaves an awkward situation with playing the Roxanne. You have to draw 6, and if you don't have enough cards, you're going to deck yourself.
Yeah, I mean, the game probably won't be going on for much longer after, like, either Jose wins the turn after or Natalie does. However, as you mentioned, yeah, like now with the energies getting exhausted, the potential switch cards or escape rows being utilized, a Ghost for a stall could be problematic for Jose, or if he's not able to take all remaining prize cards, that could also be a problem for him.
Looks like Jose going to take the risk here, just take the knockout. Hopefully the prize cards that Natalie drew were not enough to close out the game. Any gusting effect would have done the trick. Of course, then you can just absorb this shot from a card like the Archeops or a Charizard, and then maybe you go and hide to a remaining Mew, and then try to lock in that Roxanne after you take this prize card.
Now, Natalie doesn't have the boss's orders, and if you're Jose and you take out the Pokemon and your opponent doesn't immediately promote the Pokemon that they need with the boss in hand, then you're feeling pretty good. Natalie trying to figure out what her best possible play here, and she's trying to thin the deck as much as possible, playing that capture energy, getting a completely relevant Pokemon in this matchup, which is the Manaphy, but just trying to maximize the chances that she will be able to draw the boss's orders next turn. However, even though Jose cannot win the next turn, if he does take down that Charizard here, then he'll be able to basically eliminate all of Natalie's potential attackers.
Just a pass of the turn from Natalie. All of the energies that she would accelerate are in her hand. So just going to pass with the Archeops in play. Jose with the easy decision here, going to switch card, bring that Mew VMAX back into play, and take a knockout down to just 2 prize cards. And that Lugia definitely looks like a great way to close things out. Who is going to find a way to close out? It looks like the professor's research is found from Natalie.
Natalie, with that research, might be able to find that boss or Serena into her hand, but that's not enough to win this game. There's no way for her to knock out this Mew VMAX right now. And then the question becomes, can Jose bring up that Lugia V-Star from the bench and take it down this upcoming turn? The damage from the Archeops does mean that now Charizard can KO the Mew VMAX. So if Jose doesn't win this turn, then Natalie might be the winner.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we've seen the boss's orders. I know we have seen the Serena and the 4 cross switchers, so it would have to be the boss to close out here. Also a switching effect, I suppose. And it looks like we do see the switch card, Mew VMAX back into the active spot. There's only 1 card left in the deck. There's a Marnie.
Marnie, so now Mew VMAX can attack again, that's for sure, and will take down the Archeops, but Charizard on the bench doing 250 damage can take down this Mew VMAX. So how is Jose planning to close this out? There's no other Mew VMAX to attack with the undamaged one. He might be using Psychic Leap. No, Natalie just promotes and...
just banking on the path sticking, but it was not there, and the Lost Vacuum is going to clear that up. Excited Heart available, and the Radiant Charizard is going to close things out here. And that is quite a way to finish out game number 1.
Yeah, Path to Peak was still in place, so Charizard still needed that extra way to be able to attack. And Natalie had it in her hand, so pretty good. I really like how Jose went to like, okay, if you have the card, then I lose, but I have no other way. If I choose to play defensively and not attack with Mew VMAX, that also means I lose. So I have to just go for it and hope you don't have the card to counter the Path to Peak, just the same as I hoped you didn't have the boss's orders for those few turns.
Yeah, the boss for Jose must have already been played at some point. Likely wasn't that last card, or maybe we could have seen a more defensive strategy in that spot. But just going for the win, understanding what resources you have available, and we love to see that here. Excited to see what these players bring for us in game number 2, as I think this is how I envisioned this going. I envisioned Lugia struggling a little bit, but we didn't see that early path.
Yeah, the early path definitely key to try and delay Natalie. And Natalie did mention in her interview that this was a match she was not looking forward to and that it was very scrappy to try and deal with. And we saw that exactly. The energy management was crucial. Prizing so many energies could have also affected her. And the mind games between the collapsed stadium, the resource denial from Jose with the Path to a Peak, there's a lot happening in this match.
Yeah, I think after we saw the Lugia V-Stars and the Powerful hit the discard pile, that it was definitely going to be an uphill climb, but Natalie stuck it out and found a path to victory there by removing that Path to the Peak.
Yeah, absolutely. These two, like usually, because Mew VMAX can only attack with Mew VMAX, you only need to take 2 KOs to win this game. So usually discarding your one way or one of your ways to take a 1 KO, which is those powerful energies, is not ideal. So Natalie really went for it, you know, like she knew that by playing that research, she didn't have access to those resources, but she also gained closer access to discarding that second Archeops and guaranteed that Lugia V-Star and told Jose, hey, if you don't Marty me, I have all my setup going and I have that turn to Lugia, which is so crucial to win this match.
Well, we are down a powerful energy and an Evital on this side for Natalie. And as you were saying, if you can just take the 2 big VMAX knockouts, you're in a really great spot. One of those, of course, with the Lugia V-Star with all of those powerful energies and the Choice Belt. The other with that Evital using Amazing Destruction. And that could be a bit awkward seeing those cards in the prizes.
Yeah, for sure. Now Natalie does not have any way to immediately deal with a Mew VMAX. She will need Jose to have a bit of a slower start. Otherwise, she's not going to be able to knock out the Yveltal. However, the Yveltal is at the very bottom, so once Natalie finds it, then she'll be able to respond to the Mew VMAX. So seeing those prices, her plan will probably be 2-hit KO the Mew VMAX that starts applying pressure, and then clean up with the other Yveltal.
We see the hand for Jose now, and it does have that Mew to start things off, so no more mulligans this time around, and we are ready to get underway here. Oh no, maybe we're not.
Oh boy, so Jose pricing 2 paths to the peaks right here. That means the likelihood of finding the path will on turn 1 is really difficult, and also 2 battle VIP passes, so finding that card that you really want to find on turn 1 also became very difficult for his setup.
Yeah, one of the worst prize cards to draw when you definitely need some assistance in the mid to late game, as you do path lock yourself. But you don't have to worry about that because you can't path lock yourself because you only have 1 in your deck now.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are games where Mew just does Mew things and draws so well that you don't even need Battle VIP Pass. So Jose will hopefully will be hoping for those sort of games here, getting rid of a Cramomatic and a boss of that first Ultra Ball. So I like this, not leaving things to chance. He doesn't have a Battle VIP Pass in his hand, but you don't want to. There's a chance that Cramomatic gives you 0 Pokemon. Ultra Ball guarantees that you get 1, so better to go with the safe way.
Yep, that's definitely a viable strategy here. Going to use the Quick Ball to add an additional Pokemon to the bench. And Genesect is really going to have to do some work here. Not sure what the rest of the hand entails, but maybe just 1 additional card, and that's not it. That's a Power Tablet pass.
It is now Jose going first and knowing what Lugia decks do. I'm very surprised he chose to go for the double Mew rather than double Genesect. I mean, he was only going to draw a single card off the first one, but if that's an Ultra Ball or something, then you get to further your draw. You don't need 2 Mew Vs immediately on turn 1 because you're not really threatened with a KO from Natalie. Natalie's the one with the pressure, as we see right now, to get 2 Lugias in play to make sure that Mew VMAX does not target her single one, and she is able to use Summoning Star. So very interesting decision from Jose there.
Well, we'll see if that has anything to do with it. Honestly, just having 3 cards in hand and only 1 Genesect seems like a really rough way to start things off without even knowing the prize cards. I don't know if Jose really did much of a deck search there on that opening search with the Quick Ball, so could have a lot of surprises lined up, and Natalie is not about that. The Quick Ball is going to quickly throw away this Archeops into the discard pile, which was found by way of the Evolution Incense, and this is exactly how you draw it up once again with that Lugia V and the Capture Energy, finding a second Lugia.
Now, Natalie has gone through her deck a couple of times, and I could see how she showed a little bit of frustration. She must have counted the powerful energies and realized they were not there, or all 4 were not there, and also the Yveltal was not there. So we're gonna finish the turn with a Read the Wind to get that second Archeops in the discard pile and get that going. But if there's no Oricorio from Jose this turn, then the 1 KO on a Mew VMAX is still very possible.
Well, finding a Mew off the top, maybe not the favorite card to find. The Genesect, as you were saying last turn, would have felt a lot better, as now there are 3 Mew V down on the bench, and can this hand be played down? Quick Ball is going to help out, thankfully, and this should lead to some Fusion Strike systems.
Yeah, Jose at the very least needs to find that Mew VMAX and that double turbo, so this is where he really needs to thin his hand, start drawing with those Genesects, but I generally think this is where he would love to have a 3rd Genesect instead of that 3rd Mew right there.
Well, we're going to see 3 cards, and it looks like that's the only path, a Lost Vacuum and an Ultra Ball. And if you have to make decisions involving discarding any of those cards, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Indeed, I feel like Jose has to recognize that the Path to a Peak is the key card here, even though you will draw less cards because you cannot play that down before you Genesect. He really needs to slow down Natalie to not use the ability from Lugia. Now, there's no Oricorio in play, so the option to one-hit KO MUV Max is now back on Natalie, allowing her to do that with three powerful energies that she has available and the choice belt. So she does have that option because there's no more space for Oricorio now.
Well, we found the Mew VMAX. I believe, yeah, it's there, but there's no energy right now. It's going to be up to this final Genesect to at least get a knockout this turn. Where are the double turbos?
He is holding an Ultra Ball, so he can further thin his hand. I think he's really debating on the path, because the other cards that he has are also really good, but he recognizes that the path is the key card here to help him out. So we are going to see the other Mew VMAX, which he can play down on the second Mew. So perhaps getting rewarded by that decision right here. And we'll see if he's able to close out this turn with a knockout and the path in play. It's on Natalie to make something happen.
Yep, everything comes down to this. Needs to find the double turbo first card right there. Finds a second one as well, and that is going to be perfect here. The energy necessary for the Mew VMAX to copy Techno Blast for the knockout on the Lugia V, and the path to the peak comes down to potentially avoid Summoning Star next turn. Exactly how you draw it up on turn 2.
Absolutely. And now here's something interesting. Jose decided to attach the double turbo to the choice belted Mew VMAX, which I think is not the best possible play he could have done, because now that Mew VMAX cannot attack, right? And it's at risk in the active spot. If Natalie does get the path to a peak counter right here, which she does, now she can one-hit KO this Mew VMAX, so Jose had played a power tablet. He was getting the knockout on the Lugia V regardless of which Mew VMAX he used, but that's just another resource that he will be down now. So a little costly decision, but it's these things that could be the difference. At the highest level of play, the smallest things will be making the biggest difference.
Yeah, that's a great point. We also see the awkwardness of the choice belt onto the other Mew on the bench, not the Mew VMAX. So just maybe a little bit of misplacement on those cards, and every time that you're trying to add that additional 30 damage, you need to make sure that it's being used to maximum effort.
Yeah, every card counts, especially in day 2. You really need, where your margin against your opponents are so small, you really need to make that. Every card that you play has to get you closer to winning, and a small thing, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that, can be very, very costly.
Well, I think this is exactly how Natalie drew it up, if she could. The powerful energies and the choice belt on the Lugia V-Star for a huge Tempest Dive knockout on the Mew VMAX, drawing into likely that Evital, and that's 3 prize cards. Evital could take 3 more. That's how you close out a quick match.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we see the Oricorio coming down one turn too late, but of course Jose did need to extend to find those double turbo to even be able to attack this turn. But now because he has used up one power tablet, and because both choice belts have been utilized and the choice belt is not in the Mew VMAX, there's actually no way for Jose to knock out this Lugia. So his only viable play to not just lose out to this Lugia is hope that the 4th powerful energy is not available for Natalie, or Psychic Leaping into a single prizer or 2 prize Pokemon, which Lugia will then KO, and if Yveltal gets powered up, or even if Charizard with a Gusting effect, that could be the way Natalie closed out this game. So it went from the prizes could have really complicated this game from Natalie, but the convoluted turn that Jose had ended up working out really well for her.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a tricky spot here for Jose now. Natalie down to just the 2 cards after the Roxanne, so maybe if we saw the path, that'd be bad, but don't have to worry about that because they're both in the prize cards.
Ooh, the Lost Vacuum very well utilized to remove the choice belt, so now Natalie's option to 1-KO the Mew VMAX will only be finding another choice belt, which she only plays 2 of. So it'll be interesting to see how she decides to approach this turn and what options she has with the 2 cards in her hand.
Great spot there from Jose to try to give this Mew VMAX an opportunity to hang around another turn. Looks like just going to be copying the Techno Blast once more, get some relevant damage onto this Lugia V-Star, and hope that Natalie doesn't find the resources.
Yeah, now we're going to see Natalie gets that powerful energy. So if the choice build was still in play, she would have been able to just attach it and win. She is holding a boss's order, so she must be eyeing her options. Do I attack into this Mew VMAX and then figure out and then try to chase it with the boss, or do I try to take 2 prizes right now and get access to more cards next turn? She can use R-Cubes. That doesn't mean she should, though, because you really want to save those energies for Yveltal. There is merit to attaching perhaps one onto an R-Cubes to have that option to retreat once the Lugia does go down. But even though her options are very limited, she's definitely in the driver's seat.
Looks like Natalie is counting the amplifiers for if Jose could potentially find the reach with Psychic Leap on the following turn if chip damage was placed onto the Mew VMAX, likely by way of Charizard, as we see this attachment from the Primal Turbo.
Yeah, that sets up very nicely the backup attacker, and we are going to see Natalie, I believe, just do 260 damage thanks to that Oricorio. So holding the energy, holding the boss, and basically unless Jose removes this Mew VMAX from play or plays down a Path to a Peak after attacking with it, then it's gonna get really difficult for him.
I think we saw 1 choice belt along with 2 power tablets in the discard pile. I believe then we can see the power tablet in the lost zone. So that should only leave the 1 belt and the 1 tablet left to get some extra damage, and the V-Guard energy could be very beneficial here.
Yeah, and that Lugia sitting at 160 damage, there's no way to take a KO with Psychic Leap, so Jose will need to find another Path to a Peak, combine that with the attack, and hope that Natalie cannot find another attacker. But even the R-Cubes could take a knockout at this stage, given how damaged the Mew VMAX is. So unless Jose finds another energy and another Mew VMAX, it's gonna get rough here.
Well, the Cramomatic flipped, not working out this time, and Jose contemplating going for the Serena discard, draw 3.
So no disruption this turn, no Marnie. The Roxanne has already been utilized. He did find the Forest Seal Stone, so that means he does have access to either the Mew VMAX or the double turbo, but he's still missing one of those cards right now. Now we do see a quick ball here. Let's see what he ends up going for. He really wants to maximize his Genesects. However, chooses to, or not. Okay, I mean, he started shuffling, so I thought that was a failed search. He must be thinking about potential deck out perhaps. Chooses not to grab anything and will draw up to 5 with Genesect.
Yeah, I believe the Collapse Stadium is still in play. It's just hanging out over in the corner.
Oh.
So that might be weighing in on the options there.
Oh, I generally thought that was like in the lost zone or something. It looks a little farther away than usual, so I could have sworn it was not in play anymore. All right, drawing 2 of those basic Pokemon, which is not ideal for him, and we are going to see the retreat onto Mew VMAX. Is that it? There's no more options to draw. The V-Star wasn't utilized here. Maybe an Ultra Ball could have been good to grab the other Mew VMAX if it's even in the deck still. So is Jose out of options here?
Yeah, I think this strategy, it kind of leaves you in the same situation regardless. You needed to have another Mew down so that you could potentially, if you do get Gust affected up into the active spot after a Psychic Leap, then you don't have to worry about not having a Mew VMAX on the follow-up. But this leaves you susceptible either way.
Indeed. Now we do see now he uses the Forest Seal Stone V-Star. He did have the Mew VMAX, he did have a double turbo, and he did have an Ultra Ball. So I feel like if he had used that to grab the Ultra Ball, he could have further thinned his hand. He could be drawing extra cards, found that Mew VMAX, and then hopefully found that double turbo to protect the Mew VMAX. Of course, he doesn't know that Natalie does have a boss's orders in her hand, and that also means that after he played Serena, there's no way to disrupt that from Natalie, so we're just holding on to see how this game plays out.
Yeah, this is a double-edged sword here now. If you want to preserve the Mew that's on the bench, you need to evolve it. But if you evolve it, then you can't use Psychic Leap, and you're going to get knocked out and lose the game. You don't want to lose the game, so you're left in an awkward spot where you really just have to hope that your opponent doesn't have the Gust effect.
Exactly. The best play here would be to take a knockout and Psychic Leap, but that is simply not possible. So we are going to see the cross switcher here. And the other Genesect now drawing extra cards. We do see the double turbo. Will this be the Mew VMAX? No, but it is the possibility to find it with the Chronomatic. If that's a head flip, he would be able to do so.
Going to
oh no!
Throw away the Mew here and go digging even further with another Genesect. That bench space opening up as the Collapse Stadium falls. Finds the Mew VMAX.
Yeah, with one Mew VMAX and one Ultra Ball left in the deck, chooses not to take that risk, but Natalie immediately promotes, plays down the boss, knocks out the Mew VMAX, and closes out the game.
Yep, and that's going to be it. The Gust effect was all that was needed to close out there. Jose trying everything to try to put up a wall, understanding that the Gust effect was going to be a game either way, so no need to use Psychic Leap and not gain a prize card in that situation. Might as well just stay on the aggressive, try to stay in the prize race, but just way too far ahead was Natalie, and able to take a pretty decisive 2-0 victory here.
Yeah, for the matchup that she really didn't want to face, that felt pretty smooth for her, especially in that second game, despite the awkward prizes she had with no access to that fourth powerful until later and no access to Yveltal at all. Throughout the game, she was able to really just manage the game very, very well, and I think that V-Guard energy is way more clutch than people think in Lugia.
Yeah, it is very impressive, and I understandably see how it at least is a 2-of copy. You could certainly see playing more, but obviously just get the one use of it. So it's nice to see its inclusion, helping out there in this situation, really just negating one of those damage amplifiers, and it worked out perfectly there. Just not able to take a knockout, leaving 5 dice on a Lugia is not how you want to do things.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, interesting from Natalie's list, she is playing the 2 V-Guard energy, where most people are only using 1. I myself had only been testing with only 1 for the event. So the double V-Guard does mean that it's really able to protect you. You can also make sure that the V-Guard energy is not priced right at the clutch time where